new diagnostic tools and ways of managing tuberculosis on bench, bedside and beyond. Tuberculosis, as all of us know, it's an infectious disease caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Other Mycobacterium, they can also infect human beings are Mycobacterium africum, bovis, Mycoti, Peretti, and few more. Mycobacterium was first described on 24th of March 1882 by Mr. Robert Koch. Coming to disease burden, the tuberculosis, the incidence is more than 9.2 million worldwide, and in India it is 2.2 million cases. So 1/5 of the world cases are from India only. So global incidence in India is about 1/5. And this is our concern that we should pay little bit more attention. All of us should take care of treating, diagnosing patients. As the government is providing free treatment, so we should be more cautious in diagnosing and managing the tuberculosis. Now, current model of TB infection says that Mycobacterium enters the macrophage in the alveoli, there it goes into the macrophages, and from macrophages it is either swallowed, killed, and invaded, and the bacteria is invaded. Now, this diagram is very important diagram, which says that once the Mycobacterium enters inside the macrophages, the immune response is to wall off these macrophages and to make a granuloma. And here the granuloma is well vascularized, which is in the picture C. And later on the caseation occurs, and the Mycobacterium comes inside the caseating fluid material, and the vasculature is compressed and destroyed. And this B and C are the stages where 90% of the immune status persons can handle it, but those persons who are immune status is less, they can have the spread of the disease to various organs, they will have the active tuberculosis in this scenario. And the last B, which suggests that it is a necrotic granuloma. The granuloma gets ruptured and various Mycobacterium comes into the lung alveoli, they spread to the outer world and spread the infection to other persons. Now, another new concept of this disease dispersal or Mycobacterium tuberculosis spread inside the body is, it says that there are microfold cells inside our alveoli, and these microfold cells first catches this bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and from there it reaches to various lymph nodes. This is a new concept, and this concept is of importance because if we can prevent the adherence of the bacteria onto the microfold cells, then we can have a good development of good resistance. So there the vaccine we can develop which will prevent the adherence of bacterial protein to the microfold cells, the tubercular infection can be prevented. And the disease onset outside the alveolar macrophage is not only possible, but also important in the pathogenesis of the tubercular infection. Now coming to the diagnosis of tuberculosis. Diagnosis is of two ways. One for the latent infection, another is for the active tubercular infection. For latent infection, tubercular skin test or TST and interferon gamma test are two important tests available with us. While to diagnose active tuberculosis cases, a good history taking and clinical examination is still the utmost important thing. And the radiological features, all of us know that if we have got a cavity usually at the right apex or left apex, and there is an infiltration breakdown of the tissue, it helps in the diagnosing the tuberculosis. And now the final diagnosis comes by bacteriological examination. Bacteriological examination can be by a molecular method, so we can detect, identify and detect the resistance also by various molecular methods. While conventional diagnostic methods includes smear examination as well as the culture. Immunological diagnosis, as I have already told, is by tuberculosis skin test as well as interferon gamma test. A newer diagnostic methods are also there. They are NNA, BACTEC and MGIT. Our important test is the Gene Expert test for Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This test will also tell us whether this mycobacterium is resistant by rifampicin or not. So this is a very newly developed PCR test, and fortunately this test is available at our Sagar, and we are routinely doing cases of rifampicin resistance as well as the diagnosis method. So this is a PCR based test, WHO recommended currently used method in MDR-TB. Simultaneously this detects the rifampicin drug resistance, and accurate results can be obtained within 2 hours. The average sensitivity of the test is 94%, and the average specificity of this test is about 97% in rifampicin resistance cases. Here we have to take out a sample of the sputum, then we have to mix it with a reagent. Later on, 2 ml of the reagent mixed sputum is taken and kept inside a chamber, and the machine does random things. In 1 hour 45 minutes we will get the results. Limitation of the diagnostic method. The sputum examination is simple in collection, but sample collection is very tough. At the time, person says that he doesn't pass his sputum. At the time, he only brings the saliva. So the false positive results are obtained, and specifically during the recovery phase, we cannot have the foolproof results. So this is not useful monitoring the treatment response. Now the skin patch test or skin prick test. Here it is also not useful in HIV positive cases, and those cases with active tuberculosis we cannot diagnose. G-expert test. This test is very good, but it has got limitation in HIV positive cases, as well as not useful in monitoring the treatment response. So with these limitations, what we have observed that at times we can underdiagnose the tuberculosis, which will lead to individual morbidity, mortality, and continue the transmission. Overdiagnose the case. By the overdiagnosis, the unnecessary burden will be on the country as well as on the persons. And delayed diagnosis, leading to acquisition of additional resistance and to the morbidity and transmission of the disease. So looking to the current limitation in active TB diagnosis and effective management, WHO consensus has called for a new non-sputum diagnostic which is easy to run. So we can reduce the burden, detection gap must be met, and funding gaps must be closed if the new tool is developed. So new diagnostic is very important to achieve the WHO AID strategy target. There are certain emerging molecular methods in diagnosis also. There includes Khatri test. This is a non-sputum positive, non-sputum diagnostic, which is easy to run, and here the 3 genes are used. This test can distinguish between active tuberculosis from the latent tuberculosis. Second test is C test. This CTV test is a skin test in which we use the PPD along with the interferon gamma. So this test is highly specific, and this is good for high risk cases, and this can discriminate between latent as well as the active TB. And last is Lion-Provacy test. This test is good for detecting the resistance of secondary line of anti-tubercular drugs and other drugs also. Now coming to the treatment. So treatment of tuberculosis. For the treatment purpose, we have demarcated tuberculosis into 4 categories. Category 1. This category 1, we include all those cases who are new sputum positive cases, new sputum negative cases but seriously ill, and the new extrapulmonary seriously ill patients. So they are the 3 type of the patients kept in category 1. And this category 1, we have to give the treatment initially for 2 months, which is SRZE. H stands for Isoniazid, R for rifampicin, Z for pyrazinamide, E for thiamrutol. So 2-HRZE, but and this can be given daily or the 3 days a week regime, which is the DOTS category. In the continuation phase, we will give it for 4-HR. 4 months we will give rifampicin plus isoniazid. Now category 2. In this category comes the previously treated and relapsed cases. Those cases who has been sputum positive relapse, those cases who are sputum positive failure, and those cases sputum positive after a default. So it is very clear these patients have received treatment for a certain period, then they have stopped. And now we will have to more vigorous treatment to these persons. And we give 2 SRZE plus S, means we add streptomycin for first 2 months along with 1 HRZE. We have to add ethambutol for 1 more month. And last for 5 months we will give HRE. So they are the cases which they should be dealt very strongly. Now category 3 cases, they are not resistant or not serious patients. Newer stroke diabetic negative patients plus extrapulmonary tuberculosis, we will give 2 HRZ plus 4 HR. 2 months we will give HRZ, then we will give 2 months HR. Now the last or fourth disease category is chronic MDR tuberculosis cases. These chronic MDR cases will need specifically designed standardized tubercular individual regime, and this individual regime contains of minimum 6 to 8 drugs, and we have to give for 18 to 24 months, and this 18 to 24 month regime will have medicines from group 1 which contains isoniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol, pyrazinamide. Group 2 injectables, streptomycin, kanamycin, amikacin, capromycin, vancomycin. And group 3 is fluoroquinolones, moxifloxacin, gatifloxacin, ciprofloxacin, ofloxacin. Group 4 oral second line anti-tubercular drugs. They are ethonamide, pyrazинамide, pyrazинамide, chlorothalonide, cycloserine, and aminosalicylic acid. And last group 5. In this comes these agents. They don't have a clear-cut specificity, but they are used in the resistance cases. They include clofazimine, linezolid acid, amoxicillin preparation, hyacinthazone, imipramine, and others. Now, a very good historical timeline of discovery of TB disease. As this chart says that in 1857, the first tuberculosis were treated in a sanatorium basis, and later on we have come to reduce the tuberculosis burden, and WHO aim is to end the tuberculosis by 2050. And the prevention is better than cure. So to prevent the tuberculosis, BCG vaccine is very important. The current BCG vaccine is a live attenuated vaccine. It is used worldwide, and it is obtained from the strain of Mycobacterium bovis, isolated from the infected cow. BCG was used in 1921. First time it was used oral in the children. Later on other methods were tried, and today we are using it as an intradermal injections. But the disadvantage of this vaccine is that this vaccine prevents the dissemination of disease in children, but it does not provide sufficient protection against the pulmonary tuberculosis. And the pulmonary tuberculosis is the only source by which a child or adult can infect the other person. So, efficacy against the pulmonary form of TB is responsible for transmission of disease is always variable. And the unmet need with this vaccine is preventing respiratory form of TB in adults and adults. So, more than 80 years, no new TB vaccine has been successfully developed. Now, we can improve the vaccine of BCG by 2 ways. First is boosting it with a new subunit of the vaccine. Second is focused on construction of new, more effective vaccine, which is capable to replace the current BCG and can be used as a prime vaccine. BCG subunit vaccines are 2 types, MTV-75, ESET-76, and both have passed the phase 1 in trial. And other novel vaccines under development are MVA-85A, IMEX-313 vaccines. These vaccines will increase the IgA response and will increase the immune status of the person to prevent the disease. Development pipeline of two vaccines, there are 4-5 stages. Now coming to new drugs, why and what? New, shorter, cheap, safe and effective anti-regime is necessary to boost the TB elimination. However, since the market launch of rifampicin in 1960, no new anti-tubercular drug has been specifically developed, and recently approved 2 new drugs have been come in the market, but they are only for MDR TB. First is bedaquiline, another one is the Delamanid. Both have been approved for MDR-TB by US FDA as well as the European Medical Agency. Now, bedaquiline is a direct class of the compound antibiotic. It is selectively target the proton pump of ATP synthesis. So, this is approved for MDR-TB. 400 milligram for 2 weeks, then we do 200 milligram 3 times for 22 weeks. Delamanid, this is a nitrobenazole class of the antibiotic, inhibits the synthesis of mycolic acid, approved for MDR-TB, 100 milligram twice a day for 6 months is the time. Few other drugs under development pipeline, Diracolin, DPI inhibitor, MTBL inhibitor, oxazolidine. Some promising new drugs under development are Q203, PPTZ, SQ109, SCQ9. So with the all advent of the new drugs and other, now WHO has given the modified guidelines for the MDR-TB dose. In this, the fluoroquinolone has been kept in the category 1. Category 1 is second line injectable, and category C is for the whole line second line drugs, and third is category D, in which we get add-on agents. So add-on agents are pyrazinamide, ethambutol, high doses of isoniazid, bedaquiline and delamanid. Revised guideline. With the revised guideline, we can reduce the duration of anti-tubercular treatment in MDR cases from 18 to 20 months to 24 months to 9 to 12 months. Shorter TB regime is recommended under specific conditions. So going ahead, India is the highest TB burden country, accounting for nearly 1/5 of the global incidence. Continuous research, ongoing tuberculosis across the goal to support the WHO and TB strategy by better understanding of the disease pathology, development of new diagnostic or vaccine drugs available at various stages of the vaccine. Since the market of launch of tuberculosis of rifampicin in 1960, no new anti-TB drug has been specifically developed until approved drugs are bedaquiline and delamanid. Rifampicin is the integral part of TB treatment as intensive as well as a continuous phase. Kerala Pharmaceutical Ahmedabad has developed a new formulation of rifampicin to overcome its limitation and to boost the efficacy. This molecule is Resorate. And this Resorate capsule, it composed of rifampicin 200 mg, isoniazid 300 mg, piperine 10 mg. Piperine is a black pepper, and this black pepper is a very good stimulant for certain drug metabolism. I can say that rifampicin is a inducer of cytochrome P450, and by inducing cytochrome P450 autoinduction, the rifampicin viability reduces and subtherapeutic rifampicin level reaches to the blood, and rifampicin is also expelled out of the enterocyte and hepatocyte by B-glycoprotein. So we see that viability of the rifampicin decreases after 1 day to 93%, after 1 week to 76%, and after 68 weeks, after 3 weeks it comes to 68%. And the week area under curve decreases to 30 to 45%. So these are the hidden effects for rifampicin and for isoniazid. If we will give isoniazid along with the rifampicin, the absorption of rifampicin decreases. So if we want to have the stability of rifampicin, we will have to enhance coating of the isoniazid and modify release of the isoniazid in the intestinal pH. The cumulative percent of drug release of rifampicin phenomenically can be increased to 91% with the entry coating of the isoniazid. So Resorate is a good molecule. And coming to the piperine, this is highly purified and sterilized extract of the Piper nigrum and Piper longum. Enhances the viability of the number of drugs including that of rifampicin. This piperine is an inhibitor of cytochrome P450 as well as the inhibitor of P-glycoproteins, which causes efflux of the rifampicin and other drugs. So this increases the intestinal permeability. Our rationale for combining rifampicin and piperine is by just to inhibit the effect of the rifampicin, and interaction and degradation of rifampicin can be reduced. Bioequivalent studies suggest that Resorate is bioequivalent to rifampicin 450 mg, plus it is much better than 200 mg of rifampicin. And unlike the conventional rifampicin, blood level of rifampicin do not fall with continued use of Resorate. In a clinical study, it has been concluded that Resorate regimen is as effective as the standard regimen. So we can say that give a shorter, softer and softy and spicy but more effective punch to intolerability limitation in use of rifampicin by giving Resorate. To stop TB, we will have to reach to the person, we will have to treat, and we have to cure everybody. Either he is a MDR, extended drug release, or extended drug or total drug release, resistant person. Thank you very much for the time. And at last, I will pay my homage to Mr. I.M. Modi, who was really a great man, and he had a far-sighted vision, who started this company in a single room of Ahmedabad. Later on today, this company has reached to one of the important and biggest company in the world. Thank you very much for the time.